Hello, my name is Dr. Bethany Robertson, and I am the Practice Strategies Director for the QSEN Institute. I'm excited to share the launch of the Practice Strategy submission process, and I'm grateful you've chosen to serve as a reviewer. This process was developed by a work group comprised of practice-based professionals who took the existing submission process for teaching strategies and refined it to meet the needs of practice. The Nursing Alliance for Quality Care, managed by ANA, has been an active partner in developing the practice strategy submission process, as they too support the vision of creating a peer-reviewed repository of practice-based exemplars. As mentioned, we are very grateful you have chosen to serve as a reviewer for the practice strategy submissions. This is a brief webinar designed to help you understand the process and reviewer expectations. This diagram walks you through the journey a practice strategy takes once it's submitted on the website. The author reads the strategy submission guidelines that are posted on the website prior to submitting their strategy. It outlines a detailed list of criteria needed for submission. Once the practice strategy is submitted, the coordinator will receive the strategy through the submission form and identify 2 reviewers who will review the strategy within 2 weeks of being contacted. Once the reviewer has reviewed the strategy thoroughly, added comments, and a determination, it will be sent back to the coordinator and the director of the practice strategy, who will review the notes of the reviewers. Based on the extensiveness of the revisions, it may be required that the director meet one-on-one with the author in a mentoring capacity to help guide the revisions. If only a few revisions are needed, it simply will be returned to the author with directions for the revisions. All revisions will be sent back to the director of practice strategies to ultimately ensure that all required revisions outlined by the reviewers have been made. Once that has been determined, the coordinator will notify the author for the timeline for publication, and the author will sign permission forms in order to have their strategy published on the QSEN Institute website. There's been extensive revisions to the QSEN website. I invite you to noodle around on the website. Of note is a new tab labeled Practice. Once people click on the Practice tab, they will be directed to an alternative page that is a shared site between the teaching and practice strategies. You can see at the bottom there are tabs for submission guidelines, the submission form, and in future state an ability to search practice strategies. Once you are on the submission website, it will take you to this, again, shared page where it will list the director of the teaching strategies, as well as myself, the director of the practice strategies, and our coordinators. You can also see there are teaching strategy author guidelines, as well as practice strategy author guidelines. While there's some similarities between the practice and teaching strategy author guidelines, the ones for practice have been edited to account for the unique aspects of practice. Once the author reviews the guidelines and has their submission prepared, they will click on the submission form and begin the process. There's an extensive process of filling out necessary fields in order for the reviewers to understand how the practice strategy fits within the competency domains of QSEN, as well as how it aligns to practice. So for instance, someone may submit a job description that has been created for nursing using QSEN as a framework. From the specialty area perspective, they may click Other, as this doesn't directly relate to any of the things that are listed. However, if someone has a quality improvement project, perhaps in the medical surgical unit, they would click the box next to medical surgical. Again, this provides the reviewer and the Director of Practice Strategies an ability to better understand how best to align reviewer expertise with practice submissions. This is a link to the submission form that actually you will get. So there's a submission form for the strategy, but as a reviewer, we have a dedicated submission form process that is also electronic. When we click on this form, this hyperlink, you will be sent not only the strategy, but the hyperlink to this reviewer form. You can see that it is an 8-page process for you to not only enter your data, but then the aspects of the review. So this, again, these are screenshots. So page 1 is getting information about you, as well as making sure we have alignment with the title of the strategy. The practice strategy will also have a number. The first question will be about how well the strategy is aligned with the QSEN KSAs. The next question has you evaluate the practice strategy and how well it's described, how well the implementation process is described, and then the evaluation strategy, how well that has been described. We're very interested in transferability. This isn't a requirement for submissions, but we are interested in understanding how much a particular strategy could be used across care sites and venues. So it's important to get your opinion of that transferability. We also ask you to rate their additional materials if they're relevant and support the practice strategy, as well as any potential copyright material that was submitted that we should be aware of. Finally, we want to make sure grammar and professionalism is well reflected in the strategy, and then your final recommendation of publish with revisions, review strategy submission again after revisions, and do not publish. It's very important that you take some time to add as much to the narrative section, the comment section, as possible. This will help guide myself as well as the author in understanding what might need to be improved within the strategy in order for you to feel that it is acceptable for publication. We'd like to thank you again for your service and volunteering to serve as a reviewer for the Practice Strategy QSEN Institute. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email myself. My contact information is on the QSEN website, as well as reaching out to Ashley Batters. She is the coordinator for the Practice Strategy. Both of our contact information can be found on the QSEN website. And again, thank you for your service.